It's time to talk some LSU recruiting, and I'm bringing on one of the best in the market. No, I'm not. I'm bringing on the best in the market. We got Shea Dixon from the Bengal Tiger, and I got some questions because currently LSU has a top 10 class, but they're looking for more, and there's a possible big flip in the works. We're going to break all that down here in a minute, but first, LSU fans, subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. This page is absolutely exploding. Trying to get it to 10K in the first month. We are building something special. And LSU fans, we need you to be a part of it. Hit subscribe. All right. Let's bring on Shea Dixon from the Bengal Tiger to break all this down. Shea, we'll get to that big flip target here in a minute. But first, we got to talk five-star athlete Terry Bussey. His official visit to LSU is this weekend, and he's set to announce a final decision on September 28th. What's your read on where LSU stands heading into this trip?
Yeah, this is one of the nation's best athletes, obviously, putting up video game numbers a year ago. Now as a senior, everybody is after him, the who's who of college football teams. My read on it is this, Josh. He's a Texas kid. A&M has always been the team that was considered to be the leader. We had heard at some point at the end of the summer he was close to even popping for Texas A&M. But because of that injury, he couldn't make many summer visits. So he said, I at least want to give a couple of other schools a look. Those other schools ended up being Bama. He was at the Texas game. And now LSU. They'll host Arkansas this weekend on an official visit. And then next week, Terry Bussey will make his announcement. So going into the visit, I think most people think, hey, you've got to be able to beat out Texas A&M. The good news for LSU is he's been to campus before. He's got some Louisiana connections in his family, and they've consistently recruited him. So to be able to get him on campus for a multi-day stay and an OV 5 days before he's going to make an announcement is good news. Can they beat out Texas A&M? We won't know that answer until this weekend.
Hey, visits matter, and right now it looks like Terry Bussey might be a long shot, but we know what can happen when you get these guys on campus. Another big-time target going to hit campus this weekend is Nashville's finest, 2025 QB target, George MacIntyre. He will be in Baton Rouge this weekend, and 2025 recruiting for the quarterback position is here right now. We got guys coming off the board, so how do you see MacIntyre's relationship with the LSU staff, and who do you consider the biggest competition for him right now?
There's no doubt that Joe Sloan and George MacIntyre have become very close. LSU's quarterbacks coach circled him early on. LSU's really only pursued two quarterbacks from the start in the 2025 class, and they've been working on it for a while. Mind you, LSU got their 2024 quarterback commitment during the season last year. So they've been really knee-deep, waist-deep at this point, shoulder-deep in on George MacIntyre and Bryce Underwood for a year. Here comes MacIntyre's visit, and this is one, Josh, coming week 1, Tennessee. For the Texas game, he was at Alabama. Now for the Arkansas game, he's at LSU. So he has not named any leaders, but when he sat in that studio right next to you, a week ago, he said, look, LSU, Bama, Tennessee, these are schools that have really pursued me heavily. I've got good relationships with the staff. I want to make these visits. And while he isn't going to make an announcement at this point until after his junior season, there's a feeling that this visit is a really big one for LSU. And don't forget, he was actually in Tiger Stadium a year ago when LSU went to overtime and beat Bama. So he's already seen one good game in Tiger Stadium.
All right. Now, MacIntyre will be on campus. That's a big one. Would you say that him and Bryce Underwood would be the top two quarterback targets for LSU in the 25 class?
No doubt. And it hasn't changed from the start. It's been that way for about a year now. Underwood's going to visit for the Auburn game, which is in LSU's next home game after Arkansas. And he's set to make a decision as of now in the beginning of January. So LSU offered those guys, and they have not moved on anybody else. So Joe Sloan has really said, hey, look, whichever one of you want in, we want you. You are the two guys that we really fell in love with, and they've done a good job recruiting both of them.
Yeah, believe it or not, this is crunch time for 2025 QB recruiting. So we'll see what happens this weekend with MacIntyre's visit. All right, let's get to that flip that I teased at the top. Texas A&M landed edge Gabrielle Relaford in June. And this one kind of stung for LSU because Relaford is the 10th best prospect in the state of Louisiana. We know LSU's trying to lock down the state. They're not going to go down without a fight. And they got Relaford back on campus for an official visit this past weekend. What's the latest intel on LSU's chances coming out of that trip?
You mentioned he committed to Texas A&M in June. This is a kid out of North Louisiana at Evangel, a big school that always puts out FBS level Power 5 prospects every year, if not every other year. Relaford is the real deal, and LSU really needs defensive linemen. Beyond even being a top 10 player in Louisiana, that's what stings about this, is he's one of the state's best defensive linemen, and he's currently committed to another SEC West school. But as you mentioned, he committed to A&M in June. LSU didn't offer until July. So they are playing behind the eight ball here. They're playing catch up, however you want to describe it in the recruiting world, Josh. But they've got a significant, I thought, ground to make up. But getting him on campus a week ago for the Grambling State game, the first game of the season, was really big. And even when I talked to Gabriel Relaford when he got offered, he said that LSU was his dream offer. But in that same breath said, look, A&M has been on me for a while. I have given them a commitment, and he'll be back in College Station this weekend. So the push that LSU is making to flip right now, A&M is doing just about everything they can to counter that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I know LSU just going to keep chopping wood there, see if they can get a flip at the end. All right, On 3 rankings updated on Monday. We all love a good ranking riser. And one of the big movers was Trades Green, who's committed to LSU. Shay, he soared almost 90 spots in the latest update. LSU got this eval right before anybody in the industry. How do you see Green being utilized in that Tiger offense?
And he's a pass catcher, no doubt, and he's north of 6'6". This is a kid who, a lot like Caleb Odom, who's the number one tight end in the country, plays football and basketball. And Trades Green has a number of basketball offers. He has an LSU basketball offer. Obviously, it's tough to play both in college, but that's the kind of athlete we're talking about at 6'6" and a half and well over 225, 30 pounds. He's a guy that's going to be able to put on weight. He'll never be that inline blocker or, full-time inline blocker. This is a guy you want out catching passes. He's a complete mismatch. And think about it. LSU flipped Kamorian Pimpton a year ago late in the process from Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had made a great eval there. He finishes as a top 100 prospect. He's also 6'6" at tight end, really focusing on a pass-catching role. Mike Denbrock and this LSU offense are adding, in back-to-back years, two of the most talented tight ends in America who have incredible size and length.
All right. LSU fans, I'm going to ask Shay Dixon where he thinks this class is going to finish. But in the comments section below, let me know where you think, currently sitting at 8 right now in the industry rankings, where do you think LSU will finish? And Shay, the same question goes to you. Where do you think LSU might finish in the recruiting rankings?
Obviously a number of months away from signing day, and I don't mean that just in the lens of who they might add into the class, but rankings are going to continue to shuffle. So you're going to go up and down even as rankings are coming out. LSU sits at 8 right now, Josh. They don't have any 5-stars committed. There aren't a ton of guys out there still uncommitted who are in that range. They would have to have a flip. I still think that, hey, look, at the end of the day, maybe they get a flip or two. Maybe they land some of these guys they've got offers out to, like a Terry Bussey, or maybe they make late offers and senior evals and add some guys. When the dust settles, I say top 10, and I say that because when LSU consistently finishes top 5, Louisiana has a really deep class. That's not so much the case this year, at least in terms of being very top-heavy, and for me, that pushes it a little bit back. So somewhere between 6 and 10, and they're at 8 right now.
Yeah, not a bad class in Brian Kelly's second year at LSU. This weekend, though, a big visit weekend. We just told you guys George MacIntyre will be on campus. Terry Bussey will take an official visit. Bengal Tiger is where you guys can get all the updates all weekend. Shay Dixon, Billy Embody, and the boys, they got you covered. Shay, thanks for dropping by the Inside Scoop today.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On 3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.